There's an iron furnace that predates Adrian called Buckner Furnace. And I found it, and it tickled me to death, and it's in the History of Muhlenberg County book. But anyway, Mr. Rother, that was his farm. And when he wasn't being secretary of the Filson Club in Louisville, and probably the most, at the time, most prominent historian in the state, before Dr. Clark, on weekends he'd come down and stay at Forest Retreat. And my mother-in-law's boyfriend, a man named Ezra Johnson, said, my daddy used to work for Rother. And he said that. And Granny, my mother-in-law, said, well, when I was a girl, one Sunday evening, we'd go over to Rother's all the time. And they told me that he didn't call dirt, dirt. He called it earth. And he smoked Old Gold and Chesterfield. And drank some kind of whiskey. But just those little things are neat to know, to me. In that box, with those clippings, is something probably even rarer. Barry, you've got one that you think you've got an original.
Yeah.
I guess you've got this one, and I've got a copy.
Well, I've seen the signature in yours. This one.
The house that Mr. Rother stayed in, which was built from another old house. I gotta get you down there, Jimmy Harris. You'd like to see that. That went back to the time of the Buckner stack. He owned that whole farm. His family did. No offense, ladies, but he was a lucky guy because he was independently wealthy because his family owned a bunch of property. He didn't have to work. He never married. He never had any kids. And he just pursued history all the time. Because he could. At any rate, to Harry W. Dean, Greenville, Kentucky, from his old-time friend, Otto Rother, December 4th, 1938. This was in that box I bought. That's a lefty. Yeah. But in here, he was quite a gardener and all that kind of stuff. He has an account, and these pictures are from the 30s, of all the landscaping and all the plantings he did, boulder spacing and all this stuff. And hopefully I'll get to go down there before too long, because I'm doing my best to schmooze up to the guy that owns this now and see just how much has changed since he did that. So Mr. Carver was a fine fellow to know. He knew a lot of stuff, but it still blows my mind with his books. I got real lucky one day because in the mornings, he and some widow ladies, I guess they looked at it, it was 93 when he got there. They'd call him and they'd always work the crossword puzzle in the Courier Journal, Louisville paper. So they called him and said, Gail, what'd you get for so-and-so? I said, I don't know, I can't get that. I just happened to be there, and he said, what was the last name of Ricky and Lucy Ricardo's best friends? I said, Mertz, M-E-R-T-Z, Fred and Ethel, right? Yeah. And it was right, and my steam. So just because I knew about Fred and Ethel, it was my bud. Okay, I thank you very much. I hope I told you a little bit about that.
You know, they implicated Mr. Webby for his son-in-law.
They tried to.
They tried to implicate him.
That's right. Tried to implicate the son-in-law, which wasn't true, and he lost his wife and dream for 45 years.
Lost his mind.
Yeah.
He had friends that lived at Provence, and he about lost his mind because they accused him of killing.
That's really a sad story. And I don't know about Mr. Harvey, living or dead. Mr. Almond's still living. And if you're kin to him, I didn't say anything. I do not know anything about it.
Did you say the trial was still in Hopkinsville?
I think so.
Did they actually try all three?
No. They tried Mr. Lovin. Oh, that's separate. They tried Mr. Lovin. They didn't have enough because of the impeachable witness. They didn't indict him, so they he's trying the other two.
You ever looked at the court records?
No.
Might be interesting.
That, the trial is in that book, the testimony.
Which one did Whitfield read?
Who's smart at it? I don't know. One of them.
I didn't mean that kindly. I just thought you remembered yesterday. Well, let me look at the book and I'll look it up in the index.
I remember Will Hike's version, he says all the evidence was
There you
made
go.
available to Brown, remember? And that she then was repeating what she had read.
And that's a big axe to grind there, if that's true. Wow.
It would seem to me like somebody would have had to done an awful lot of sneaking evidence out, you know, or testimony or written records in order for her to have access to that. And that she probably was very brilliant and she remembered all the details that's accounted in that book. So I think Mr. Will Hike's axe is dull.
He's an interesting character. Y'all have been there.
Yes.
We've been there.
He lives in a trailer and a couple other trailers in a building.
I've been back to trailer 3, but there's trailers past that,
Yeah.
so I'm not
Been to the
sure.
milk house?
We went back to the 3rd trailer he has books in. That's as far back as we went, but there were more.
Yeah, there were more.
past
And,
that.
he says he does that printing down at
That's
his milk
printing
house.
in the milk house, and that's one of his books. They're perfect,
We didn't see
perfectly printed.
reprice it.
I mean, he does a wonderful job, and you gotta know exactly where he is, because you see all these old trailers in there, and Bob and Judy and I went, we got lucky and found him, this fella come to the door, and he's on crutches, he's in bad shape. A walker. Oh, come on in, so we went in, and there's the history of Edinburgh County, and there's Lawrence Pennington, there's that picture I tried to get Mr. Griswold, he didn't need. Just a lot of Hopkins County census books, and his printing press was in a barn, and that was printed in the barn. Beautiful. For those of you, and I'm about done, for those of you that were here this morning about the harps, I invited a lady to come, and she hoped to be able to, but she didn't make it. She included the harps in one of her talks a few months ago at the Genealogical Society people went to. And I heard that part of it's going to be about the Harp Brothers, so I sent a couple of my articles with them. And I received a kind letter from her about my articles and how she uses them. And so I called her and said, how about my royalty or not? But anyway, what was so interesting and what I was looking forward to her being here, you know, after the harps, after Big Harp was killed, Little Harp escaped, they left the 3 women and got away, they let them go, and they kind of drifted off into history. And Mr. Rutherford, who was a very good researcher, mentioned that one of the Big Harp's wives, Betsy Roberts, later married a man named John Huffstatter. The lady that was coming today, Gail Jackson Miller from Bowling Green, is descended from Betsy Roberts, Big Harp's alternate wife. I thought that would be something, but she wasn't able to make it. Thank you very much. I hope you've enjoyed this.
I know where it's at, yeah, I'll be here every time.